All right. So Tamara Shoemaker hardly needs an introduction. She's been on this show, gosh, many times. And she's affiliated, actually runs the Michigan Cyber Patriot program, which is a program for students in grade schools learn the basics of how to become a cybersecurity professional. And Tamara can probably explain that much better than I. Hopefully, I did a good stab at it, but take it from there, including in what grade level these students are.
Sure. Absolutely, Mike. So Cyber Patriot is a national program that here in Michigan, as you said, I kind of wrangle it, try to make it grow. It is a kindergarten through 12th grade cybersecurity education program. And the part that I focus on probably pretty heavy is the middle school and high school cyber competition piece. And that cyber competition piece runs from October until March each year. This is the 15th season. We're pretty excited to be here. We have be doing it now during the 15th season. And it's a really good program for kids to get sort of, like you said, a flavor of what cybersecurity is, what a cybersecurity hero does, and that's what we call them here. At the end, if they don't choose to be involved in cyber and go that path route, that career route that we show them very carefully how to do, at least they will be cyber aware when they're out there using the internet and using their phone and all of that kind of good stuff. And we'll have some employees that when they get into the workplace, will understand why it is that we have cybersecurity in place.
Let's talk a little bit about that. Do you track those numbers in terms of how many kids go through the program and then whether they go into cybersecurity careers or not?
Yeah, so I don't personally do that, but the national program does. They keep some really great statistics, and they have an annual report every year about how many kids participated. This year we have nationally we have. Let's see here, where's my number? 4,399 teams competing nationally. And That's times 5, right? So that they have at least 5 students in each one of those teams. So that's a lot of kids. It's actually down quite a bit since COVID. It's down like 2,000 people, or 2,000 teams. But we're trying to, we're going to be building back up again now that everyone is back in person, and then after school program is not quite as big a lift as it was when we were all virtual. This is a really good program for kids. It's an easy entry to this kind of a thing. And so it's the reason that I, back it in the state of Michigan and have been trying to grow it over the last 7 years.
Okay. Also, what you're in dire need of is more mentors, cybersecurity pros that know their stuff, particularly now that they can do it virtually rather than in person, right? And of course, funding. I know that being a nonprofit, it's a challenge all the time to get money together. And so let's talk about those 2 needs that you have.
Sure. So the really nice part about Cyber Patriot program is that they built mentorship right into the program, right from the beginning. So 15 years ago, they knew that was an important piece to have some cybersecurity people who actually know what they're doing, get in there in the classroom and mentor these kids. And as you said, this is an all virtual game. So there's no getting anybody bosses or bake sales or any of that kind of good stuff. But because it is an all virtual experience and they compete virtually across the nation, you can also mentor them virtually. And I've had long conversations with the folks out in LA, California, where they've got a ton of teams, but they've got way less in people who are volunteering back before COVID, because getting through LA traffic to try to get to a classroom was a bit ridiculous, right? So now that everyone is all programmed to be able to just pull up a Zoom meeting or a Teams meeting or any of those kind of, tools and do that, it's much, much easier now for our volunteers to drop down into a classroom and teach these kids about their career and about cybersecurity and how easy it really is to implement it. It just takes a little bit of patience, to slow down a tiny bit and just use some really common sense and good hygiene. But we are always looking for folks in this industry to come in and help do that, because it's one thing for a teacher to kind of tell them this is a career, pathway, and this is what you do, but when you actually have boots in the ground, people who actually do this for a living and can say, yes, I drive a nice car, I have a great home, I did all of this because I have a couple of cybersecurity certs. And, it made me jump up up in the crowd and made me visible, and I have a really good income, and this is what my work day looks like, and that kind of thing, because we don't, it's really difficult. They make this whole take your kid to work day for a reason, right? It really does they need to really feel it and understand what it's going to be like in the career field. And so that's a really important piece. And then the other piece is the industry partnerships here in Michigan, right? So a couple of years ago, before COVID, I had 187 teams playing. I'm down to 142 to this year. That's really sad, but it's because we haven't been able to do some of the things that we were normally able to do because we had some good support from industry partners. And that one of that was our award banquet has gone to just giving out trophies and not actually having an award banquet. And there's nothing worse than not being able to give kids their trophy personally, right? And to really celebrate their accomplishments at a state level. And so we have 3 divisions and we have 3 different levels, and all of those kids have been working really hard over the year. And so it's really nice to be able to have them have an award ceremony that also breeds them to go back and talk and show their trophy and brag. And then more people want to join and all that loveliness. And then the same thing goes with Cyber Patriot camps in the summertime. There is some cost involved in doing camps. And so in order to do that, I need to have sponsors to be able to help us with that as well. And so that of course gets them excited over the summertime. And then in the fall, when they go ahead and start to play, or when it's time to play, they'll be really, they're going to be asking the teacher, please, let's do a Cyber Patriot camp program, instead of the other way around, where the teacher's trying to scrounge around for students. So yeah, we definitely need industry's help in every sort of aspect that we're doing this in, both in having mentors and having some financial support as well to continue the program. We're going into the 8th year, pretty excited about the fact that we've been doing it for 8 years and steadily growing all the time. And I think also we're hanging in there even through the COVID piece, when you look at numbers for other states and things too.
Yeah, and to have one of these in a high school, or I think it's also middle school you work with, right? It's not particularly expensive, is it?
No, it's wonderful. That's the reason that I like this program as opposed to some of the other programs that are out there. First of all, it's actually a long period. It's not one day that you play and then it's over with. You actually go from, summer or from when school starts until midwinter, and so that's really nice. It's very low to barrier to get in. So it's $205 for a team to play. And they theoretically can play actually all year round, because there's also practice rounds that happen as soon as the competition stops. Then they start having practice rounds so that you can prepare for next year. And so that's really nice. So it's $205 for a high school team and $165 for a middle school team. So that's an awful lot of bang for that buck.
Yeah, it's really inexpensive.
Very inexpensive. So then all they need is 3 computers, because they need to have 2 computers for each one of the operating systems, one for Linux, one for regular Microsoft, and then they need one to be able to research things. So when it's just like real life too. So they have these things that they have to hire these operating systems. They have to find the vulnerabilities, and if they get stuck, they can Google it. They can do some research on the other computer, and so it really only takes 3 computers. Now, it would be cool if they had 5 or 6, which is what the maximum amount of people are on a team, but it can really be done with only 3. So again, that low barrier to entry. It also is free if it's an all-girls team. It's free if it's a Title I school. There's an awful lot of stuff out there and then there's a ton of tutorials and all kinds of things to get people started for free. There's also, for the K through 5 kids, they're not left out, right? So those younger kids, there's 3 free videos that teachers can download, and parents as well can download for free from their website as well. And then they can learn cyber awareness without actually knowing that that's what they're doing. They're just playing these video games that are just fun, and they're learning how to keep themselves safe. So that's also there. An important part of it, as well as the senior citizens piece as well, so that they can go out in the community and help senior citizens protect themselves as well, which is awesome.
And you brought up the female-male ratio thing. It's been heavily male. Is that changing? Are more females getting involved now?
They really are. So there's more females in gaming. And so likewise, there's more females in this competition as well. And our summer camps have been 48% female. So we're pretty proud of here in the state of Michigan that we're doing a really good job with that. And again, I think it goes back to, I make sure that my volunteers are are a very diverse population of volunteers, so that they can see themselves there, right? So when they come in, they're not the only girl standing, sitting there. There are other women there, the other folks of different cultures there, so that everyone feels comfortable. This is definitely an inclusive kind of thing and not an exclusive thing. And, and until we kind of make sure that that's the case across the country, we're going to still be having the bad guys eat our lunch, because they are definitely using a diverse crowd to work on all the bad things that they're trying to pull, in our systems.
Yeah. And of course, this Thursday, the 27th, looking at my calendar here, is the Michigan Cyber Summit. And I think you're going to be there. And now, will you be presenting awards to your students there?
So I think the lieutenant governor is going to be presenting the awards, and I won't be there for the first year in forever.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I know, it's terrible, but my kids will be getting awards. So the top 3 teams in the state will be getting trophies awarded, and usually the lieutenant governor is the one that does that, because he's the cyber guy, right? The IT guy.
Sure is. He's a Microsoft guy, but go ahead. So
right, we won't hold that against him.
No.
Right. So we have the top level, which is called platinum, because we have 3 divisions, so that everybody can play in this game, no matter what their level is. The top level, first place for the team, for the state folks, will be awarded their trophy from during the summit. And so I'm pretty excited about that. We haven't always been recognized at the summit. Most of the players that are in the cyber in the governor's challenge are my Cyber Patriot kids teams, but this last couple of years, the governor has brought trophies out and awarded the top teams, and so I'm pretty excited that Cyber Patriot is going to be represented again at lunchtime on Thursday. So it's a really exciting time. It's really sad that I can't be there. In fact, I was asked to speak with my other hat with the Auto ISAC training and things that I'm doing in that piece. But it's just too bad that I'm going to miss seeing the kids get their awards. But people will take pictures for me. I'll make sure I see them. Okay,
let's talk about Auto ISAC and what that's all about, since everybody can see it in your background there.
Yeah, so I'm excited about it. I've been working here now for a little over a year, and I've been in charge of the ACT program, which is the Automotive Cybersecurity Training Program. I was brought on specially to do that. We have a cooperative agreement with NHTSA, and it is just finishing out. So I just completed the last week of in-person training over at the American Center for Mobility over here in Ypsilanti, Michigan. And though that's when they really get in there and get their hands on things and really try to become sort of mini hackers, right? To figure out what the bad guys are doing to their automobiles and their parts and pieces. And they learn how, with hands-on instruction, how to sort of go back now to the drawing board, and when they're in there designing, to make sure when they design it, they have security in front of their mind. We also have one more week of it, but will be virtual, and it's more of the concepts and compliance kind of issues that they have to deal with as they go into cybersecurity for the automobile. And it's getting more and more complicated every day, and so it's pretty exciting to sort of be on the leading edge with all of these experts in the area teaching our autos this. And this was really cool because it was designed by the auto industry and it's being run by the auto industry for themselves. And so instead of having someone else kind of tell them what they need to know, they've really got great people across the globe coming in and making sure that they get everybody trained up just as fast as they can. And so it's made for folks that are new to the industry or new to cyber. So if they're in another department and they haven't been touched, they haven't had to do any kind of cyber, then this helps bring them up and helps them get up to speed real fast. If they have had cyber, but they haven't had anything to do with autos, because there's clearly a different for each industry, each infrastructure that we're trying to protect has their own things that make them different. And so it's making sure that those folks, that even if they have cyber background, now they have auto cyber background. So it's been a real fun experience. And I'm really excited that we'll be rolling this out in sustainment in the future.
Okay. So if folks want to find out more about Cyber Patriot or Auto ISAC, how do they do that?
So Cyber Patriot, uscyberpatriot.org for the national association, and we have MICyberpatriot.com for the Michigan group. And then the Auto ISAC is also out there. And we also have, we put out this month, and I was involved in doing that, some awareness videos for Cybersecurity Week. And they're really cool videos out there that focus on auto cybersecurity. And so I definitely give a call out to everybody to go to the Auto ISAC website. It's Automotive ISAC, so ISAC, make sure I can spell ISAC,
ISAC, right? Yes.
Right, and then it's .com, and then if you just look for the cybersecurity awareness videos, they're really cool. A really, really good bunch of ones. We had one for each week about building security into the whole entire life cycle of the auto, and so they were fun to make.